I guess that Elliot's process of eliminating.
Yep.
Speaking of eliminating, Greg's not even on camera yet.
I'm here.
Oh, we have to kick you off. Hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to episode 101 of Beer Analysis 101. So this is supposed to be a special episode. This is supposed to be the special episode of Beer Analysis 101 because it's episode 101 of Dubbel. The 100 last week, 2 weeks ago now. Anyway, we're going to do something super special, even though we only have 3 people with us tonight. We got Greg, we got Ashley. We'll introduce them later. This week's beer is Chimay Red or Chimay Première, the first beer from Chimay. So I don't think it's really a much of a beer that needs an introduction, but I will get into history in a bit. Let's look over at who we've got with us tonight. We'll start with Mr. Showed up first this time.
Yay!
Right. With his new puppy Arnold.
It's me, Arnold, or it's me with Arnold, I should say. He's here. He's a maniac. That's why I'm holding him so he stops biting me. Also, my wife is here. We'll get her to try the beer, and she can give us the rating as well. Why not?
All right, sure. We'll include her. She'll probably hate it. Love you, Agnes.
But that's okay. I love making her try things she hates.
Oh, so much could be said for that.
Yes, it could, Nick.
All right. Moving right along, Mr. Forehead. Ashley Sexton of Sexton Brewing Company.
What's up, people? What's up? What's up?
Soup?
What's up?
Soup?
Ooh, I'd like some soup.
What's up?
Good right now. All right. Let's go back to me, Maxwell Starr. Let's get into the history of Chimay, which I spent actually quite a bit of time writing on breaks at work over the last week. So the story of Chimay starts with the monks of the Scourmont Abbey, a Trappist order inhabiting the Abbey Notre Dame de Scourmont, located on the Scourmont Plateau in the Belgian province of Hainaut, near the Ardennes forest. In the early 1800s, attempts to cultivate the barren Scourmont Plateau had all but failed. In 1844, priest Jean-Baptiste Jourdain suggested that it would be a suitable place for a monastery. He obtained support from Prince Joseph II of Chimay, as well as the support of nearby Westmalle and West Fletiron abbeys. And finally, in July 1850, a small group of monks from West Fletiron settled on the Scourmont Plateau, founding the priory. Following the establishment of the monastery, the self-sufficient monks built a farm and eventually began to produce cheese and started a brewery for their own sustenance as part of the Trappist way of life. Originally, the beer that was produced was only for the monks and their guests, but in 1862, they became the first Trappist brewery to sell their beers to the public. The first beer sold to the public was a Bavarian-style Doppelbock, but it was determined to be too low in fermentation. The monks reached out to the monks of West Fletiron for advice, and in doing so came up with the recipe for the predecessor to what is today known as Chimay Première, which is, of course, tonight's beer. During the interwar period of the 1920s and 1930s, Chimay's beers became the first to coin the term Trappist beer. During World War II, the brewery was destroyed by the Germans, who used the monastery as barracks. Following the war, the brewery was rebuilt, and a monk by the name of Father Theodore began work in the brewery. And in the winter of 1948, studying the work of famed brewing scientist Jean de Clercq, Father Theodore began cultivating a new yeast strain that would help improve the quality of the beer the brewery produced. In the early 1950s, Father Theodore invited de Clercq himself to the Abbey to help with the perfecting of Chimay's production methods. De Clercq, who had previously gained fame for isolating the yeast strain found in Dubbel, founded the monastery. None of the monks were formally trained in the industry, and he arranged to have Father Theodore to take his course in Louvain. As a byproduct of this, Father Theodore and de Clercq would later work together to create Chimay Blue Cap, or the Grand Reserve, in 1956. The beer that set Chimay on its course to international fame. When de Clercq passed away in 1978, he was buried at the Scourmont Abbey in an honor traditionally only given to the resident monks. Anyway, so in 1966, Father Theodore first brewed a lighter, drier, hoppier triple called 500, or 500, to celebrate the 500th anniversary of the Principality of Chimay, whose support made the brewery and the Abbey possible. Father Theodore continued to work at the brewery until well into his 90s, passing away in 2013. In 1997, Chimay was one of the founding 8 Trappist abbeys to form the International Trappist Association to prevent non-Trappist companies from using the Trappist name for commercial use. The International Trappist Association created a logo that is placed on all goods, which you can see right here at the bottom of the bottle here. On all goods such as cheese, beer, wine that conform to the criteria required to be a Trappist product. These criteria, as goes for beers, are as follows. Number 1, the beer must be brewed within the abbey walls, either by monks or under their supervision. Number 2, the brewery must be secondary importance within the monastery and should witness to the business practices proper to monastic way of life. Number 3, the brewery is a non-profit venture. Income from products are made to cover the monks' living expenses and upkeep of the monastery and grounds. All remaining income is donated to charities and the needy. Anyway, in 2013, Chimay d'Or, or Chimay Gold, which I bought is a 4.8% Patters beer, long brewed at the brewery for the monks and staff as only a sustenance. It was finally made available to the public. 2013, so that's pretty cool. All right, so let's get on to tonight's beer, which is Chimay Première, better known as Chimay Red, is a 7% ABV, 19 IBU, Belgian double-style beer, brewed with Belgian malted barley, candy sugar, spicy floral hops, and, of course, the same yeast strain still descended from the one that Father Theodore discovered in 1948.
Nick, I just want to let you know there's a hockey player backstage.
We actually have Mr. Jamie here. Thanks for joining us, sir. We'll get over. We'll give you kind of your introduction when we talk about history. Let's go over to Greg and ask him what his history with Chimay is.
My history with Chimay, I have had this numerous times. I believe my first check-in I have here is August 3rd, 2015, which is, I know I had it before then. It basically dates back from the days when I first started trying different beers, and I was like, oh, this one was, and I think back then, I think it was something like $4.50 or something for this big bottle of 7% beer. And the Pollock in me is like, that's a lot of alcohol for not a lot of money. I like it. And I tried, and I don't really remember what I thought of it. I imagine I didn't like Belgians all that much at first, so I probably didn't love it. But it's a beer I've had fairly numerous. I have at least a few bottles every winter, and it's always something that I like to pick up every now and then. I don't hoard it or anything, but it's a solid beer.
Nice. All right, let's go over to Mr. Ashley Sexton.
I don't think I had this one last year, but I know I've had it pretty much every year before that. I think I got this glass out of one of those like holiday 3-packs you get. It's just probably a banging deal. But yeah, I've had all of the, I guess what you consider to be the core Chimay products that make their way to the LCBO. So the red, the blue, and the gold, or the triple, whatever color that one is. Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say I know this beer inside and out or anything like that, but I've definitely had a handful of them over the last few years.
Nice. All right, give me a second. Middle of pour. Let's go over to, first of all, let's introduce that we have Jamie from Basement Beer Reviews, or he doesn't do that anymore. He just basically trolls.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Anyway, how you doing tonight, Jamie?
Good. Thanks for having me. Sorry, I really apologize for being late, but I just am late. Sorry.
Don't worry about it, dude. Glad to have you on. What's your history with Chimay?
I've had the blue numerous times, and honestly, I don't think I've had the red. If I've had it once before, like years ago. But just every time I see Chimay at the LCBO, I just pick up a blue. Yeah, it's something that I should buy more often instead of turd IPAs at the LCBO. I should be buying this, but I don't. So I don't know. Maybe I will more now.
We're in the same boat, Jamie. I'm tired of being beer shamed.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Speaking of being beer shamed, let's go over to my story. All right. So my history with Chimay goes all the way back to 2011, was just around the same time the first time I ever had anything from the brewery, which was the Premiere. Not the Premiere, sorry. The Grand Reserve, the blue one. And I kind of got to try that one. I picked up a bottle of that in Nova Scotia because Nova Scotia used to carry the large bottles of the Grand Reserve for several years. And I went road trip down there and actually picked up a bottle of it. And I saved it. It was my very special episode 100 on my channel. So that was going to show exactly how long ago that was because I was like early 2011. It's like 8 years ago. So as far as the Premiere goes, I've had 3 of the 4. I haven't had the gold yet, although I have a bottle of it. I had the red several times because it actually showed up in big bottle form here a few years ago and got a great deal on clearance on stuff. But back when I did the review of it, it was, and I'll flash it right here. I did a review as the pie episode, I guess, 314. Way back in 2012, and it was sent. The original bottle was sent to me by Brew My
Ooh,
Meat.
is that the fuzz?
No, that's Heist Almighty.
I like the fuzz better.
Right. Okay, let's go back to my story here, which I'm rambling anyway. So, yeah, I had it once before. I loved it. I think I gave that review. I gave it 4.5. I've had it a number of times over the years. I even bought a whole bunch of bottles when they kind of came in New Brunswick and went on clearance. And I still have this one here, which is a 2014 bottle to go along with the 2017 that I'm drinking tonight. That I bought this at the store in Moncton on the weekend. So even though it's 2 years old, I just bought it. And it's actually been one of my favorites. I actually appeared on Average Joe. We hardly see him anymore, but he did a Chimay Blue, Chimay Red. Actually, I think it was the Chimay Triple. I forget. We did that special episode on his channel. God rest his soul.
You did all 3?
I forget which ones. I have to look up what ones we did. I can do that later. Anyway, let me finish off here.
Yeah.
Great beer. Looking forward to trying this. I know I'm sniffing off the top of it. Haven't taken a sip yet, and I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. Oh yes. All right, so let's move along over to Ashley, who's going to read the comments while I, fornicate with this beer.
Main contributor right now is Lee. He's like, let's get it on, you lazy pieces of poo-poo. So I applaud him for being reserved with his use of language. Then he's said this should be a short one. Ha ha ha. I guess just implying since there's just 3 of us, now there's 4.
Mm-hmm.
And cool story, bro. What's up? What's up?
He's
not here. I'm sure.
And then basically bro here,
What's up?
And then whoa, episode 100 of Maxwell Star's beer review coming in 2023. There we go.
12 years too slow for that one. Oh, that's neat. Even though this is a 20, if the bottle I've got, sec here. Where's my camera? I'll show it to me. Show it here. Even though my bottle says, I suppose it says December 2019 is when it manufactured. It actually has stamped on the cork 2015. So I guess that technically makes this a 2015 bottling.
Ooh.
No, it's just a 2015 cork, man.
I got a 2019 cork.
Same here. I got a 2019. Oh.
See if I can make this thing pop. Come on. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, come on, Jamie. Oh,
shit,
Jamie's
yeah.
going to gift the hell out of that.
Right. All right. Let's pour the vintage 4-year-old bottle here.
So you're doing both at the same time?
Oh, I'm going to double fist tonight.
There you go, man. Just don't get it mixed up.
Yeah. Just don't go overboard. Fucking drunk. All right. Let's move along to...
You'll be singing...
I'm not really ready to give some final thoughts, so we might as well just have an open conversation here. What's everybody thinking so far?
I'm thinking this beer is great, and I think it's always great every time I have it.
Well, I'm enjoying it so far.
And I'll just put
worried
it back.
about
I can do the
this.
scores tonight. Sorry. I can do the scores. Just
I'm always impressed by these beers. You got these, your Westies, and I guess Rochefort 10's not that hard to get or anything. But, you got these ones that are sort of a little bit more expensive, a little bit harder to get. And frankly, I think these, and even the La Trappe beers as well, I think they're all really, really solid beers, and they're cheap, and they're always available.
Right? It's like all of these great beers just hanging around. And And yeah, we keep on buying really crappy Ontario craft beer.
Well, yeah.
It's like, why?
Everybody can get. It's not. Well, the thing is that it's not that like Belgian beers are just. They often come off as being every bit as good as they always have been. But when it comes to, it's the newness factor too. We've all had Chimay Red now.
There we go.
We've had it for years. So when we think about it, it's like, yes, it's amazing beer, but then we try to gravitate to something newer because that's where the attention goes. But in this case right here, it's always nice to go back and revisit a fucking classic like this.
Well, it goes with any style. I mean, there's a lot of IPAs that every once in a while I'm just like, oh, I haven't had this in a while. I know it's good. I'm going to have it. Obviously, it's always fun to try something new, but it's always nice to come back to something familiar too.
That was weird. Check this out. I don't know if you can really see it, but you know what? In the camera,
it looks very different.
The 18. If this is a 2018 bottle,
Yeah.
Because it's December 2022. It says, by that logic, it's probably a 2018 bottle. This is so much darker than the older one. I mean, look at the difference. Like, it's hard to tell. I don't really have any proper means of showing it with a white background, but it's like
it's a marked difference. You can tell.
Yeah, like you can see it right there, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to. Anyway, whatever.
No, yeah, that one looks definitely a lot darker than the other one for sure.
Nick has given up.
What?
Weird. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Sorry. By the way, did we get Agnes to try the beer yet?
Not yet.
Oh, Eric's in the chat. He's like, "Cheers, fools!" Cheers, Eric. Did you pick up tonight's beer, Eric? Are you partaking with us?
I took it out 2 minutes ago.
He's in Ontario, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can get
The
this.
dog just got her. Hold on, she has a beer crisis. Her beer was out for 2 minutes, and she has to put it back in the freezer, so it's cold. She's gonna try this. She's gonna try this beer that's been out for half hour, and it's gonna be almost room temperature. Well, not really, but
Make sure to put the purity seal back on.
Yes.
here, babe, try this beer and tell us what you all think of it. Tell us all what you think of it. That's okay. He'll take something from my room. It's fine. I have enough shoes. You got my sock, you little shit. He's got my sock.
It's not offensive.
Not offensive.
It is very mildly flavored.
Very mildly flavored. Okay.
Honestly, I mean, it has a fruity taste.
Perhaps any banana? Do you taste any banana?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. Let me taste it.
Taste it again. See if there's any banana in there you taste, or any candy sugar.
Like, I almost taste grapes.
Okay, fair.
But I would say it's mildly like it doesn't taste like an offensive beer.
Would you say it's fairly smooth, fairly drinkable?
100%.
What would you think of the alcohol is if you were to have a guess?
Well, I know you told me today, and I would have never guessed that this is highly alcoholic.
So, okay, fair. So you like it?
I mean, yeah, it's not offensive. Okay, here's the thing. There's a difference between I like it and I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I would drink this again if this was the only thing available. I would never say, hey, can you get me that? No.
You'd never willingly drink it, but you drink it if you absolutely just needed to get drunk.
Yeah, like I'm actually surprised you like it because it's so mildly flavored. Like you like flavor.
I disagree with you on the mildly flavored. I think it's perhaps maybe subtle. I don't think it's. I think you're used to IPAs and stuff when you try those that they're just sort of so in your face.
Listen, I just had a freaking steam whistle, and I would say that has more flavor than this.
Wow. Okay. So we've heard that. So
I would say maybe not flavor, but kick. Like this is very mild. Mine has a little bit more like bite to it.
Okay.
Just because it's refreshing and
it's more crisp.
It's crisp. This is like so tame.
Well, this I don't think you get a whole lot of hops to. I think that might be what you're.
That was sort of where I was gonna go with that. Definitely with the Pilsner, the steam whistle, she's picking up on that hot bite, that bitterness, that crispness that you would sort of call. Whereas this is to what you were saying, Greg, this is very mild on the bittering scale of things. It's definitely more malty.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very smooth. This is almost like velvet. This is like you're just drinking velvet down your throat.
Yeah, like this is too easy to drink.
Too easy to drink. So if you were, I'm not going to ask you to rate it on style since you don't drink this style, but what would you, on your own personal scale, what would you rate this out of 10?
7.
A 7? So that's not a bad rating at all.
6.5, 7.
6.5, 7. Okay, well we'll give it a 6. We'll go 7. We'll go high end on that.
Hey, should I include Agnes in our scoring?
I would say no because she doesn't really have a style rating.
Okay.
So
I will not.
that's just, but it's a good perspective from somebody who's not really a big craft beer drinker, other than Steam Whistle, which is craft beer.
And Belgian beers being one of those styles that most people that are, they don't drink the, different kinds of beers like this as much. It's one of those styles that, for the most part, are, I don't know. It's the kind of style most people won't like if they're not, drinking this regularly.
Yeah.
I think the Belgian yeast is a little bit difficult for a lot of people to sort of enjoy. I think and I actually think when I first started with Belgian beers, I didn't like it all that much either.
Mhm.
Although I did like wheat beer, so I don't totally remember how I felt about it. But
Good thing I had that before I had my pork pate.
oh well, I'm glad you can enjoy your pork pate now.
There we go.
All right, since we're already talking to Greg about this whole thing, I'm going to go back over to Greg and say, well, Agnes has given a rating. What did you think? I think we already heard most of what you think. You might as well talk about it a bit more and then give your rating.
I think it's a really solid beer. I mean, I find sort of with these kinds of beers, you got sort of the sweet candy sugar, you got the banana, you got the chocolate, and they kind of goes in whichever direction this one is. And this one's fairly well balanced. I get a little bit of everything from it. The flavor I don't particularly like from these is when I get too much chocolate, and this one I don't get that, so that's good. This has always been my favorite, and I've always sort of done head-to-heads with this and La Trappe. Ow! Fuck you! Jesus Christ! Okay, little shit. Sorry about this, Nick. I'm ruining your show. This is very
I know you always ruin the show, Greg, yet we invite you on every week.
This little shit just bit my finger, and it hurts.
But he loves you so much.
But so I always compare this one with this and La Trappe, and I always forget which one I like more when I've done the head-to-heads. I think I like this one more, but I don't know. I'll just have to do another head-to-head. Why not? Anyway, this is really solid. I like it. I mean, and what is this? This is technically a tripel, right?
No, it's a double.
This is a double.
Oh, it's only double. Oh, then actually more so because I usually don't like doubles as much as I like tripels. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna go high on this one. I really enjoy it. My rating doesn't necessarily reflect this, but I also find it to be a very good value. So I'm gonna go 9 and 9 on this. I think it's very solid. If you told me this is the only beer I could have in my fridge for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah,
That's a good way of putting it.
cool story, bro.
What's up?
Bruh. All right, Mr. Sexton, what do you think? What's your opinion?
It's great. I enjoyed
All right,
it.
we're done.
We're done. Bam! Stamp it. No, I mean the aroma. I pick up, some very, very subtle, like stone fruit type of aromas. Little plum, little apricot, some raisins, stuff like that. Definitely on the sweeter side of things. I do get like a mild spiciness as well. Bodies, for a high ABV, like it's not a high ABV beer. For like a 7% beer, the body is very light. It's a very light body, and that's probably just because they use so much like candied sugar in it. So you're not getting a lot of that malt that's beefing up the body, but that candied sugar is definitely driving the ABV up. So sort of lends to a very lighter body, which, is usually a problem with me in these Belgian beers because they're high ABV, but they're so easy to drink because, you take a sip, the alcohol's so well hidden. It's, it's very smooth, but it doesn't feel like you're drinking gravy. So you just take another sip and take another sip. And then all of a sudden, you got 3 of these done and you're half in the bag. So, it's a very dangerous beer with that regards. What I really like about this are those subtle nuances from the Belgian yeasts. I don't really pick up on banana so much. I'm sure like 9 out of 10 people will pick up on banana, but for whatever reason, I don't. I get a touch of clove, but I get like a nice pepperiness. It's a nice spicy pepperiness that I find balances off the sweetness quite nicely. The taste for me sort of follows the nose a little bit, still getting a lot of that like stone fruit sweetness, a little bit of plum, some prune, like apricot, some of those fruitiness, which is most likely driven by the yeast and the malt and stuff like that, but whatever, blah, blah, blah. Very tasty beer, very enjoyable, well crafted. It'd be interesting to line up year by year now that I see how 2 of your glasses are a little bit different, Nick, like how one's darker than the other. It'd be really interesting to see how they're different. And cause I wonder, with their yeast propagation, whether or not the strain changes from, year to year to year to year to year, since they're using the same yeast. They're very smart people. So I'm rambling on. It's a very tasty beer. I'm going to enjoy drinking the rest of this huge ass bottle. Very happy, super cheap. I think this was like what $7.90 or something like that. $7.60. Oh yeah,
Jesus
it's crazy cheap, man. Like why aren't I drinking this like
all the time?
I don't know.
Man, they fucking hoot that for that price.
Why don't I just hook it to my veins?
Butt chugging.
But to what Greg was saying earlier, or no, what Jamie was saying earlier, like Belgian beers are just not the rage in the Ontario market. So you don't see a lot of it unless it's an import, right? So, to that end, my experience with doubles and tripels and stuff like that, it's not that great, but I mean, I could sort of tell that this is a very well crafted beer. I've had this in the past and enjoyed it quite a bit. I will give this a, for style, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I honestly don't know where it could get better, but I think you know a 10 when you taste it. So I'll give it an 8 for style and personal enjoyment. I'll give it an 8.5. I enjoy this one quite a bit.
Right on. All right, let's go over to Mr. Jamie. It's a Trappist.
What Ash said.
All right.
Pretty much. Okay. Yeah, just it. I think I need to buy more Chimay and like just not buy as many like this Ontario beer. Try to Belgian and
New Ontario.
then disappointed and I don't know. There's just I've been not buying this for a long time and I think I should be buying more of it. It's great. Chimay, the blue and the red. I don't think I've tried the other, the white. What is the white? Is that
That's the triple.
That's the triple. Yeah, I haven't even tried that one yet. So I definitely think I'm going to be buying more of it. I'm going to give this an 8.5 for style and a 9 for enjoyment. I really enjoy it. And from what I remember of the blue, like it's been a little while since I bought that, but that was like in the 9s, 9.5 kind of thing. So yeah, good stuff. And yeah. Thanks for having me, Nick, even if I was late.
No worries, dude. Glad you came on. All right, so let's get over to my over-opinionated self. My thoughts on this one here is the flavor notes that I noted from the 2018 is that I got this aroma of red apple and burnt toffee, which did carry in the taste. You get like flavors of raisins, the dark fruits, the a bit of candy sugar. So there's some banana and bubblegum notes in there. The finish has got this nice like peppery spiciness along with some cinnamon and almost like a baker's or a milk chocolate finish or something lingering in the back as this thing drips down your throat. It's like this, almost like this dark fruit and like not cranberry or anything, but like this like dark cherry or something like that, and chocolate. Got dipping in your back. But this stuff is absolutely fucking delicious. I gotta say though, the older bottle, and I'm thinking maybe what's going on is this is still very good, it's a little bit past its prime. Like I think that because maybe 3 years is probably the limit of maybe what this really can do. But it's really smooth, but all the flavors pretty much the same flavor profile, but everything it's drier, it's smoother, it has less oomph to it. It's got more chocolate in the finish, but it's almost comes off as weaker. And when I drink them side by side, the amount of flavor I get out of the younger one masks what I get from this, because this is overpowering the older bottle. And it's not like I'm not enjoying the older bottle. It's just that it's not. I'm finding myself almost disappointed because I'm not getting more from this, and it's just because it's dialed back. But I'm not going to rate tonight's ratings based on the older one. I'm just going to say that if you're planning on aging some of these, maybe not age it 4 years. Drink it before then. But in this case here, where this is a 20 bottle that's almost 2 years old, I say that this is incredibly flavorful, and as far as the double style goes, it's pretty well spot on. I'm almost going to say I'm probably going to agree with what Ashley and I think Jamie had said, where it's 8.5 for the style, 9 overall. That is some tasty shit. All right, let's go back over to, I think, anybody want to read the comments?
Yeah, I'll read them. Read them comments. So yeah, Eric Gilbert, cheers, fools. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, Eric Gilbert. The Trappist is amaze balls and at $8 for a $7.50 shelf turn. Beer hooligans in the chat. He's like, I'd like to join you guys for a review sometime, as I'm a YouTuber beer reviewer from the UK. Well, cheers. Thank you for visiting us tonight. Eric Gilbert says, nope, couldn't hit the LCBO. That has it on the way home, but still drink on the regular. It's a classic. Craig from Kent Beer Reviews is in the chat. Cheers, guys. Beer hooligan and yeah, cheers, Craig. Don't know if you're still up or asleep, but hope you had a good night. Beer Hooligan gives Chimay Red an 8 out of 10. If you need to know more about Belgian beers, take a look at my channel. Eric Gilbert says, I usually age red cap a year, turns into cognac. And Greg, Eric Gilbert loves your dog. He's probably trying to break into your building right now and steal it.
Oh, great. Well, I'm going to be naked. When you show up, I'm going to be naked, so you're going to have to deal with that.
There we go. Oh, God. Okay. Beer Hooligan feels that Chimay Red doesn't come anywhere near La Trappe, and La Trappe Double is a far better beer. And tasting notes from him are raisins, coriander, slight chocolate notes. Lee Russell's like, Beer Hooligan sounds like such an expert. And let's see here. I tend to specialize. Oh, I didn't remember. Tend to specialize in Belgian, Dutch, and German beers on my channel. And most Belgian beers are at the max when it comes to aging the bottle at 3 years. And it's funny you mentioned that 3 years too, because I was looking back on my Untapped to find out when I drank this, and I came across like my friends like who tapped it, and Chad had said the same thing on his review. He's like, aging he had aged his too long as well, or who knows?
And I kind of ran that experiment with Chimay Bleu as well, and I find that that's kind of where the sweet spot is. Like when we got Chimay Bleu was around the same time we got the big bottles of Premiere, which is 2015, 2014, something like that. And we got a whole bunch, and what they did was they clearanced all the Chimay Bleu off for like $3 a bottle or something crazy at the end of the. After they've been on the shelf for years, I'm like, these are still fucking good. So I bought I've still probably got like 6 bottles of the Blue from that old. But I've been drinking them one by one over the years, and they've kind of it was around 3 years is when they started. Now they're starting to get a little weak or a little inconsistent where they haven't aged well or something like that. 3 years, sweet spot for sure. That's my opinion, my own opinion.
I don't age beers; I just drink them. So I don't know.
They age in my stomach.
It's a good motto. You know what? When they sell you the beer, that's when it's ready to drink.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point to make. I mean, if you're going to encourage people to sit on a beer for years, then just sit on it yourself.
Yeah.
Why pass the cost along to the customer?
Then again, you got to be careful because then you end up with Muskoka where they they purposely sit on their beer and then charge you an extra $10 a year for it.
Oh fuck! Like the Spring Oddity and the Winter Beard.
So you got to be careful how you go with that. You know, I think bottom line is a beer should be judged at the time that they take your money. That's what it should be, and that goes both ways. If a brewery wants to leave their shit on the shelf for a year, like an IPA or something, and then the LCBO still sells it to you, well, that beer is fair game to rate as well. It works both ways. Bottom line is that's the way it should be rated. If you want to age it, you can age an IPA for 10 years, and if that's how you want to drink it, you're welcome to it. It's your beer. I just don't feel. I always get really annoyed when it's like, oh, you buy this beer, oh, it's not good until you age it for 5 years. It's like, well, fuck that shit. You know?
Yeah.
That's like saying, hey, again, it's like saying, hey, you know what? I bought this great new car, but it's only good.
It's just some kind of like dick waving beer supremacy things. Like, oh, I'm so much better than you because I'm drinking this at 3 years in 1 year or something like that. Like, big deal. You're drinking the fucking beer.
Also, let's always put things in perspective.
Just enjoy yourself.
Let's always put in perspective that it's a liquid. It's going to turn to urine at the end of the day. So it's fine. Enjoy how you enjoy it.
All right, let's get down to drum roll, please.
Oh,
that's probably better than MGD.
Probably.
So I was only half paying attention, but obviously I think I gave it the highest rating because you guys dragged the score down.
Did you add in Agnes or no?
No, we didn't include Agnes because she didn't rate it on style because this isn't a style to drink.
All right.
I don't think she's offended. Are you offended? No, she's not offended.
That's pretty much almost even Steven and what me and Ash and I think Jamie gave the same rating too, didn't you?
So I guess
pretty close.
A little bit more than you guys.
Yeah, I was 8 and 8.5, but whatever.
Yeah, 8 and 8.5. Okay.
All good scores for good beer. So
I gave it 8.5 and 9. Anyway, yeah, no, really good beer. I think we did like it. I don't think we obviously didn't like it as much as like what are the other traps? We did Roquefort 10.
Yep.
We did one other Trappist beer, didn't we?
We have. Shit.
All right, I know I run the show and I can't remember what we did. Drawing a blank here.
That's all my. It's embarrassing. This is all
we
your.
did St. Bernardus a long time ago, but that's not.
Yes. It's not. No.
It's not technically. It's Trappist style, but it's not a Trappist brewery.
We've done Rochefort 10, haven't we?
He just said that.
Yeah.
That was the only one he had said.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The brewery St. Bernardus used to brew the beer for West Fluttering, but when the Trappist logo everything came out, they went their separate ways.
Well, I'm hoping they release Westy again because that
would be amazing to do for a beer analysis.
I would love to try and get a couple 6-packs, even though that shit's really expensive. I'd like to try and get a couple 6-packs to do, but it doesn't. I haven't heard that they're planning to re-release it anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean the only time they actually released it en masse was because they were renovating the monastery, and they were like selling them in bricks. Like 6 bottles would be one brick, and it was like $20 or something. No, it was $100 for a brick, wasn't it?
I believe it was $100 for a 6-pack, and you got 2 glasses.
2 glasses, yeah.
Well, I tried it once at a bar where actually Mr. Aaron Duchette bought me and Joe a bottle to split. It was very nice.
Nice.
I think it cost him $26 for the bottle. And it was absolutely fantastic. Now I may have been a little bit biased because of the whole it's Westy 12. Oh, it's like that supermodel I always wanted to sleep with. So I may have a little biased on that, but it was really, really good. So I wish they would release it again because I would like to drink it again. I'd like to grab a few. We can do a beer analysis on it, but for now,
you're not wrong. Like when it comes to like Westy 12, that it is a bit like dating a supermodel. It's really great because it's rare. But you'll probably discover if you sleep with her more than once that she's just average. Yeah. But that really makes sense. You're like, that's not exactly what I was trying to say there, but that's how it came out. But I say, like, the rarity plays into the flavor, but it's still a fantastic beer, and I would love to do a beer analysis on that at some point.
But like a supermodel, you don't want to let her age too much, right, Nick?
Yeah, don't age at 4 years.
Yeah.
40
That's
years.
past her prime.
Oh, yeah. When she gets past her prime,
I
she's
find
kind
it
of
most-
starts
I
to
find it most
oxidize a little.
beers- You know what? Maybe there are some beers that are designed to age. Like I've never had a 20-year-old Thomas Hardy. Maybe it's fantastic. I don't know. I think most beers past the 3-year mark tend to drop off. They get sweeter, but they lose flavor.
On my channel, my review 1000 was a Westy 12, and it was a 4-year-old Westy 12 at the
And
time.
you were
It
so
oxidized.
disappointed.
What?
You were disappointed.
Oh, I was disappointed because
I
like
watched that review.
it was oxidized. Like it had lost a lot of its oomph. And back when I had it when it was only a year old, it was just amazing. But when I had it in 2016 when it was 4 years old, it was just it's good. But it's like I'm disappointed because it's not as good as I was like the age was the expectation I had for the age, right?
I've never had it, so I have no idea.
Oh,
Same.
That's all right.
yeah. I'm looking to see if I can find. We did some other Belgian beer, didn't we? Oh, we've done other Belgian beers, but I could have sworn we did another Trappist style.
We'll have to look back on it, but we can do that in the after chat.
Yes, we can. We're going to go to the after chat in a second here. I want to thank everybody for watching. And we got Eric Gilbert. We got Lee was in the chat. We got the Beer Hooligan and Kent Beer Reviews. Of course, you, Kent. This you, man. So maybe we'll have the after chat when you can join us. But if you're still awake, anyway.
What's the
Thanks for.
question?
All right, we didn't get asked a certain
Thanks
question.
for enjoying 101 episodes of this.
101 episodes. We didn't get asked a certain question, did we?
No, so then we can't answer.
We can't. Yeah, we can't log off without somebody asking what next week's beer is.
Hey, Nick, it's me, Eric Gilbert. What's next week's beer?
I still don't see the comment here.
God, Eric.
Somebody has to ask.
Somebody
We'll
type
sit here awkwardly until looking at the screen while one of these viewers. We have 7 viewers. You can listen and put in the
There we go.
below.
Yeah, Lee got it.
Lee got it. Okay, so next week's beer is
What is next week's beer?
Flying Monkeys Paranormal Imperial Pumpkin, which was just sent to me by Greg, actually.
Yay!
So next
Well,
week is Halloween week, so we are going to do Flying Monkeys Paranormal Imperial Pumpkin, because fuck pumpkin beers. And it's an easy one to do because I already have the history for Flying Monkeys written up.
Hey, Paranormal's a pretty damn good pumpkin beer. So
It is.
I actually have a 2014, one of the big cardboard box bottles of this still left.
Wow.
Yeah, I have no idea if it'll be any good.
Well,
I'm gonna crack it next week with that one, just like I'm doing.
next week.
Just like I'm double fisting. Tune in next week where I'm double fisting again. And thanks for watching. We will check you guys out later.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
I meant to say that, but yeah, bye, fuckers.
Happy birthday to Nick.
It's not my birthday.
Well, it's your beer analysis birthday, so just
Oh well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, fuck it.
God.